Well, week one went exactly as we expected in the LCS, right? I don't know, but there was some great games, some twists and turns, and a lot of great content. So I'm really excited to be talking about it on the LCS report. I can't believe it. I mean, it was truly one of the most interesting weeks of LCS that we've had in forever. I think that the analysts, did a really good job of talking through certain things, and I think Cutie Cinderella was a really good addition. I think Butbo was an amazing addition. I think the Let's Cook thing. I know a lot of people are memeing it, but I really liked it. I think it was creative, and I think just in general the new stage looks good. Like there's life in the LCS, and you can tell. I mean, all the different things that are going on. It was awesome, and we still have these games to talk about, let alone from teams that surprised everybody. If you want to take a quick look at the standings, we're going to start every Saturday episode with this. They're crazy, all right? So we've got, sorry, I got it up over here. So we've got Cloud9 at 2-0. We have got FlyQuest at 2-0, CLG at 2-0, and TSM at 2-0. Holy crap, I don't think anybody was thinking about, I mean, maybe CLG a little bit, but definitely not TSM at 2-0. I know I was not. Representing FlyQuest, by the way, with their new jerseys. Got them. These are really comfy. They look awesome, by the way. Keep getting compliments on it, and I've only had it for a day, so pretty crazy. Um, Next up, then, we had Evil Geniuses and 100 Thieves, both at 1-1. Then to round things out, Team Liquid with the surprise 0-2. We're going to get into that a little bit. Dignitas 0-2. Golden Guardians with a barely 0-2. They probably could have won at least one of their games. And then Immortals with a pretty rough weekend overall at 0-2. And yeah, guys, I mean, these standings are crazy. As a reminder, I mean, they're right below me. So in case if you're wondering, what is he talking about? They're right below me. They're always going to be there on every episode. But let's dive into a couple of these games because I think that they're really important. I think the CLG versus Evil Geniuses game on Friday was very, very, very important. I think, I didn't get to watch the whole thing, honestly. I was busy doing a couple of life things, but, you know, this game looked eerily similar to the first game for Evil Geniuses, where Golden Guardians was just pushing them to the brink, pushing them to the brink, and then ultimately they ended up losing a team fight, and it was game over. Um, Things flipped here. Evil Geniuses just ended up getting beat in the end by CLG. They won one very decisive team fight and were able to escalate that into Baron and win basically. And it was really weird to see because I just didn't think that this Evil Geniuses team was gonna have such an issue. I really thought, looking at this Elise, that she was gonna be a great pick for Inspired. I thought JoJo on the Rise was going to be much better. He loves the side lane game, and I think Rise is as good as anybody on it. FBI looked great this weekend. I don't think he was the problem. I don't think Inspired was the problem either. I think Vulcan was trying too much. He didn't have much of an impact on this Heimerdinger. It felt like he was pretty uncomfortable, if I'm being honest with you. At times, like, it did look good. And instead, Contracts just barreled his way to continue to make his team play well. I mean, they weren't playing great. Luger had arguably one of his worst games I've seen him have in a very long time. And yeah, he farmed forever, but whatever. Like that didn't matter. It was Contracts leading the way. He was constantly trying to push their advantages. I think Contracts is really in a comfortable spot. I think he might be actually one of the better junglers in the LCS, and that's saying a lot considering I think LCS, the jungle is the best position in the LCS right now. So he is really showing out. Like we saw him in the kickoff. This CLG team looks dangerous. I'm not going to get my hopes up too high yet. It's only week one. I think teams like Evil Geniuses, 100 Thieves, even Dignitas, TL, right? They're going to be teams that kind of find their way a little bit more as the season goes on. But like, dude, this CLG team, they know how to win. This is what we expected out of them, though. Week one, good. We'll see what the rest of the weeks look like as the rest of the teams kind of get their cohesion together. Evil Geniuses on the other side of it, though, big question marks, a lot of problems. I kind of worried about this team. Next one here is the TSM Team Liquid. Now, I do have a show called Talking TSM. Excuse me, Talking TSM. If you don't know, I also will have, I think, coming out at the same day as this. I was able to get an interview with Chime where I think he really kind of dove into what's working well for TSM and how they're going to kind of continue on. You should give that a look. But, you know, this game, these games from TSM were solid. They just showed better team fighting in the end. Their laning wasn't terrible. It was good enough to keep them in the game. And once they were able to kind of find their footing, they just pushed forward. I think Neo was a huge surprise. Boogie was a big surprise. He did look good in game 1. He looked competent, at least competent in game 2. And I was very impressed with him, to say the least. Team Liquid, on the other hand, looked a little lost. And I am very surprised because I think their problems were stemming from Summit, Pioshik, and Core JJ. I don't think Harry and Jan played all that badly for their first week of LCS action. I think Jan specifically played really well, actually. I think I had him in my predictions as a potential Rookie of the Year. I had him winning it. I think he can. I think Core JJ really helped him out in lane. I think he looked good in team fights. He knew his positioning and everything. But the rest of this team was not great. Summit specifically looked a little out of his depth. I think he's got to start playing with a little bit more respect, maybe, or just a little bit less, I don't know, gusto, because he was constantly putting himself in bad positions. Now, to be fair, a lot of these deaths and stuff weren't necessarily on his fault, or necessarily his fault. I think his team was not playing around his Meganar very well in this game. They were constantly fighting when he either didn't have it or it was about to time out. So I think with he tried to make a huge play in the Dragon Pit. It didn't work. There are questions on this Team Liquid team, but I do think that they are going to be a very good team. They need a little bit more time. I think this is one of the only teams where I could say an 0-2 start, I'm not too worried about them right now. I think, obviously losing to TSM, a team that a lot of people are still placing at the bottom after their 2-0 week, are questioning whether or not their 2-0 start was just a week 1 thing or not. I think Team Liquid are going to have to answer some questions. So I'm really interested to see what happens with that, but I think they're going to be fine overall. The next one here is 100 Thieves. Doublelift did not look great in game 1. He looks really good in game 2. I think Tenacity kind of got, a little, hey, welcome to the LCS moment against Fudge, his buddy. But, dude, this C9 team looked great. And 100 Thieves, they're not bad. They were able to beat Immortals. Congratulations. We'll see if it matters in week 2. You got better opponents than Immortals in week 2, but I think this was a bit of a respect thing here again. Busio bringing out the Azir. It's hey man, you can't play that random crap against good teams. Cloud9 will make you pay. Diplex was a question mark coming in. They gave him the Akali. Dude, one of the few bans that you should have done early on was freaking Akali. This guy is known for his mid lane assassins. Why would you give him comfort in the first game? Why would you focus so heavily on Berserker? Oh, I know why. Because he's really freaking good. And that's the thing is this team, whatever faults Diplex is going to have, they're going to be covered because the rest of this team is so good. This Cloud9 team is great. I had them at second in my power rankings for a reason. I think if you're doubting them, you're stupid. You're dumb. Dude, Fudge, Blabber, Berserker, and Sven are good enough with almost any mid laner who isn't just totally feeding, their butts off, that they can carry and win games. I really want to dive into Fudge here too. He had one of the best weekends I've ever seen him have. Yes, he got the Cassante. This champion looks perfect for him. I cannot express that enough. I think it's the right balance of aggression and recovering, from mistakes. I think he looks like a fun champion, which allows, Fudge to, I think, just be, I don't know, it enables Fudge to, I think, fit his play style really, really well. There aren't a lot of champions that can do what Cassante can do. And I think this one fits Fudge. I think teams are going to start having to ban it against him. I mean, look at this. He's putting up almost 1,000 damage per minute. That is insane on a team that was blowing people out, and he's doing this, and he's doing nearly 30% of the damage in week 1. I mean, guys, this is crazy. He had 3 solo kills. I said in the episode predicting, I was I think he's going to get a solo kill in that first game. I said that. He did. That was the first kill. Then he got 2 freaking more over the weekend. I mean, This dude had one of the best weekends I've ever seen a top laner have, and he did it on a champion that, while yes, he's very strong, I think he made Cassante just look absolutely OP. I mean, it was crazy. Kudos to Fudge. I think Fudge really took to heart all that he learned at Worlds this year. I think he, you know, felt embarrassed. I don't think that this Cloud9 team was I don't know if prepared is the right word. I don't know. There was something up with them, and Fudge took it to heart and he said, "I'm just gonna go." So this is my player of the week, by the way. He was the player of the week for the Mastercard stuff too, so no surprises there. He was awesome. The other player I wanted to point out was Spica. This FlyQuest team, guys, they're 2-0. They look legit. They're scary. They are scary, and I had questions. How's Spica gonna, evolve with this new team? How is he gonna fit in? What is he gonna be able to be the leader? The answer is yes. Yeah, sure, he got Maokai. Maokai's really OP right now, but this is what Spica does. If you've ever watched TSM, he will pick, two of the most OP champions. He'll just continuously play them and have his team built around him, and he'll win with them. And that's just what he does. I think, if I'm being honest with you, I think this FlyQuest team revolves around his ability to continuously make plays, to zone people out during these fights to hit his smites, everything. This team is scary. I mean, look at these guys. Look at this. I mean, Vikla didn't even have a good game in this first game. He lost to Harry, which is surprising, and they have a sub in Winsome. Winsome did not look great on Cloud9 last year. He looked really good in this series. When you put in Ayla on this team is horrifying. They're scary. I mean, Prince went 9-1-2 and 10-0-2. Dude, this guy is a killer machine. And Vikla had an amazing game on the Silas. A bounce back game for him. Excuse me. This team is very, very strong. And I just want to point out Prince as well really quickly here. He gets this area OP pick. Yeah, whatever. They try to ban him out. They try to make him, go down in his champ pool, and he pulls out the Ezreal and has an even better game than he did on the Zeri game. I mean, guys, this guy is going to be insane. Imagine once he has a consistent support, one that's frankly better than Winsome. Not that Winsome's bad, but Ayla's going to be better. So, guys, the LCS is really exciting. I think this C9 team is fun. I think FlyQuests are going to be fun. I think Evil Geniuses, 100 Thieves, TL, I think all of them are going to figure it out. I'm not worried about them, but I mean, if they're having a fight with the likes of CLG and TSM for those top spots, oh boy, you better watch out. I'm excited. It was a good first week. Yeah, maybe the views weren't exactly what they were hoping for, but I think the fact that they were even able to hold steady at least during this time change, during the new days, people not even knowing the double lift is back, like all these kinds of things, I think we're actually going to see a better viewership in week 2, and I think for good reason, because these teams are good, they're interesting, they're fun, the storylines are awesome, and I'm just excited for more action. So make sure that you check back on Tuesday. We'll be going over more of the games. I'll be giving out my superlatives and all that kind of stuff. And with that, I'll catch you all on the next one.